Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now, on the line, we've got Katy Parsons waiting to talk to us. Now, Katy is an amateur paleontologist, and she's currently working at the Tennessee Museum of Natural History, and she's very kindly offered to spend some time with us so she can tell us all about what she does. So, Katy, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Thank you. Katy, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on and helping these kids out because they're all fascinated with dinosaurs and they're looking at a path possibly into paleontology. And so it's important that people like you can tell us all about it. So I've got a question for you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I am 21 years old. I currently attend Middle Tennessee State University. I'm going to be getting my degree in geology, which means I have spent 4 years studying our Earth and its systems, and I will finally be certified to talk about that this December. I also, as you mentioned, I work at the Earth Experience Museum of Natural History as a paleontologist. My 4 year anniversary of working there is actually coming up here soon in March. So I will have been working in paleontology for 4 years.
That's really cool. That's super exciting. So you say you work at the museum. Tell us what you do during the day. What's your day-to-day work? What do you do?
So I do a little bit of everything at the museum. I do front house gift shop sales. I take people on tours, but probably the most interesting parts of my work happen in the Paleo Lab. Now, the Paleo Lab is a part of the museum where we take fossils that we have found out in Montana or out in the field, and we clean them up and get them ready for display. So right now at the museum, I'm currently working on a big Triceratops femur, and a Triceratops femur is a Triceratops leg bone from about the thigh area. I also mostly work in fossil reproduction, making fossil casts. Now, fossil casts are replicas of real fossils, and they are so accurate that we can get all the itty bitty detail in the fossils into a safer to hold, very much lighter fake fossil.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. So you actually get your hands onto these real fossils. Now you said you're working on was it a femur bone? Did you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how long has it taken you to work on that particular bone?
So I think I've had this bone since May. Now, of course, like I said, I do a little bit of everything around the museum, so it has taken me a bit longer to get around on this project and find time to do it. But I've had it since I think May or June, and I'm still working on it. Fossil preparation and fossil cleanup takes such a long amount of time. Depending on the bone or what we're working on, it can take years to get a
Wow.
specimen cleaned up or a fossil cleaned up. So I am just now finishing putting all of the little pieces together, and we've still got to take the rest of the bone and sculpt in what's missing with clay.
That's incredible. So it's you're at about 6 months now, roughly. You've been working on this just one bone. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize how long it takes to. People see the movies and they say, "Oh, we just dig this rock up," and then next minute they've got a completed fossil. Whereas this one bone is taking you 6 months. And are you the only one working on this bone, or is there other people working on the same bone?
I'm the only one who's been working on this bone. If we have a project in the Paleo Lab, generally we don't work on other people's projects. It's a courtesy thing, and it's also so that we can keep track of who's working on the fossil, what they're using, because sometimes things happen in the Paleo Lab. Sometimes things break. Sometimes someone might accidentally use the wrong glue on a fossil, and we need to go back and trace who did it just so we can find out what was done and how we can fix the issue. So it's just easier to have one, maybe two people working on a project at a time, and we keep a log of this so we know what we've been working on and what we've been up to. So in case someone does pick it up, if we need to leave or someone else needs to take over, we know what we've been doing.
I see. So you've got like a chain where you can identify who's worked on it and what they're up to and what their thoughts. So do you note down any thoughts you've got as you go and that sort of thing? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we basically, yeah, we write down, what we use, what kind of glues we use in the lab, if we use any sculpting materials, what we use to clean up the fossil. Sometimes you'll use chemicals like acetone to dissolve away or get rid of or break down extra little sediment or dirt on the bone. So
I,
we need to keep a log of that.
I see. So this role you're doing at the museum, is it a paid role or is it a voluntary role?
So I started out as a volunteer, but I am paid now, and I've been paid for over 3 years.
Okay, and how did you get into that role? How did you get into that job?
So it's a really long story, and really the beginning of this goes back to all the way when I was 3 years old, because I have been obsessed since I was 3 years old. I used to tell all of my school teachers, I'm going to be a paleontologist. I'm going to be a paleontologist. And I grew up and I still really loved paleontology. So one day I was a junior in high school. I was in my third year of high school, and our local museum director, who's now my boss, came into the earth science class that I was taking, and he gave a presentation on the museum and the type of displays that they had. Asked anyone if they were interested in paleontology. I was the only one in that class who raised my hand. And that was how I found out about our local museum. And so I went to the museum with my family. I went home. I begged my family, please, we've got to go to this museum. There's a dinosaur museum in town. We've got to go to this dinosaur museum. And so they took me to the dinosaur museum, and I was 16 at that time, which is the minimum age, sorry, of volunteers for the museum. So I went to this museum with my parents. I was looking around, and when we were leaving, I was told about volunteer opportunities. So I looked at my parents. I said, I'm going to volunteer at this museum. And so I went a couple months after that and put in a volunteer application in March of 2018. And I started volunteering. I started day one in the casting lab making fossil replicas. I then branched out to giving tours and handling parts of tour groups. And then September of 2019, after I was accepted into college for geology, I was offered a paid role because I was officially in the earth sciences.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, and that's something we've heard before is to get your foot in the door, look for voluntary
Yeah,
positions, and that's and then you get to know people. And as we've said last time, I think the last time I spoke to somebody, it's all about it's all about who you know as much as what you know, and that really
very true.
helps. So, knowing what you know now, is there something you wish you knew before you'd started your career?
So the biggest thing I would say is if you're really interested in pursuing paleontology or geology, study hard in math and science,
Okay.
especially math, because I'm not good at math. I am really bad at math, but there is so much math involved in getting whatever degrees or certifications you need to do this kind of work. Um, and it's very possible to just pass by in these classes and get where you need to go. But don't let the math discourage you because I'm still bad at math. I'm in my last math class. I really couldn't tell you what we're talking about because I don't know. But definitely, if you're really interested in doing this in your future, study hard in math and in science, biology especially, because it is so intertwined with paleontology.
That's excellent advice. So really, it study hard at school. You got to learn your math. You got to. I hate math, and to be honest, there's not many people that I know that really enjoy math. But you've got to know it. It's a crucial part of the role, and just because you don't enjoy it, it's gonna be a part of the role that if you really want to be a paleontologist, you've got to know that stuff. So you got to grit your teeth and get through whatever you don't enjoy and move on. It's such a
Mm.
that's good. That's a really good insight. So, do you have any exciting stories regarding your work? Anything that you wanted to tell us?
So most of that actually revolves around going out into the field. So we go out into the field for about 2 to 3 weeks every single summer in July, And we go to this ranch, and this ranch is huge. It's about 7 miles of land all packed in together. And the rock formation there is called the Hell Creek Formation. It dates back to the late Cretaceous period when big dinosaurs like Ankylosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Struthiomimus, Triceratops, and probably most famously Tyrannosaurus rex were roaming the earth. So that's a lot of the stuff that we find out there. So we have a couple of established dig sites that we go to work on, and we also go prospecting. And prospecting in paleontology means that we go walk around this ranch or the desert area, because you do tend to find a lot of fossils in drier areas. So we'll go walk around and we'll scan the ground for fossils and fossil bits. So I like prospecting, but I really like, and because like I said, I've been into this since I was 3. I grew up watching Jurassic Park, where it opened with that big dig scene on the Velociraptor.
Uh-huh.
So I've always wanted to just sit down and work at one of those because I thought it would be cool.
Excellent.
So my first summer out, we went to this Triceratops site. So we already knew there was Triceratops material there. They had already found bits of a skull. So there was a skull out there. They found some vertebrae, which are backbones. And whenever I went out, this was my very first time out. I had no idea what I was doing. I was sat down on the ground, and there was a Triceratops rib sticking out of the ground. About half of it was out, and I was told, uncover the other half. So I sat down on the covered end. I had a friend sit down on the uncovered end and just work on clearing away extra bits of dirt. And it just kept going. And working in the field is super duper slow, which I'm an impatient person, but there's just something about not being on your phone and not having cell service that makes it go by so fast.
Hmm.
But whenever you're working on fossils, I mean, you could get 7 inches of bone uncovered in about 7 hours, which is what happened with me. But the more I worked at it, about on my third day of working on it, I got to the end of the rib and found another Triceratops rib underneath it, which is really cool because, let's see if I can get into camera. Triceratops is my favorite dinosaur. I don't know if it's, I know it's like the worst
I
angle
see. Oh, I
possible,
see
but
it. Yeah. So you got a
yeah.
Triceratops
Oh, there
tattoo.
we go. So I love Triceratops. Triceratops has been my favorite dinosaur since I was a little kid, and that was the first fossil I had ever found was another Triceratops rib.
That's so.
Um, Last year, I found a baby Triceratops toe bone at the bottom of the Triceratops site, and the ranch owner wants to keep most of that site together. So the stuff that we dig up on that site, she keeps it. We don't get to keep. But since it was at the very bottom of that mound, I got to keep it. So I got to keep the toe bone that I found.
Oh, excellent.
Uh,
Have you still got it?
I do actually.
That's so cool. That's cool.
I do. It's awesome.
Have you got anything to show? You got any fossils there that you wanted to show us?
Yes, actually. So I know earlier I was talking about just how accurate fossil replicas can be.
Uh huh.
Because sometimes people will come into our museum and they'll see our fossil replicas because we do make everything in house, and a lot of it we do put up for sale in our gift shop. And I hear a lot of people looking at fossil replicas, and I can understand how it's really easy to look at them and go, oh well, they're not the real bone. It's not the real thing, but they don't realize just how accurate these things are. So I've got 2 things with me. I've got a Spinosaurus tooth. That's a real Spinosaurus tooth.
Uh huh.
And probably more exciting is this real Tyrannosaurus rex tailbone. Now, this is so small, it would have been at the very tip of the tail. It's a little broken up, but it is a real T Rex bone. So look at this. You can see just how many little pores are in there, all the little dips and divots and cracks and breaks in this. Now I made a mold of this sorry, not Triceratops, T Rex bone, and basically what that means is I took the original fossil, I put it in a cardboard box that I constructed myself, and I poured silicone rubber on it. And the silicone rubber gets in every little deep crack and pore in the bone, and whenever you pull it out, it makes such an exact copy that it almost looks like the real thing.
Oh yeah.
And if you look at this, I mean, if you look at this, it's exactly the same.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's insane how much detail gets picked up. I mean, you can see all of the little details in this
Sure.
are the exact same. And then what I do once I have something like this is I paint it. It's kind of like the real thing. And it keeps and the cast replicas keep all of their detail. So it's pretty much like having the real fossil, except now everyone can have one. And I have the same thing here with my Spinosaurus teeth. I mean, you can just see how accurate that is.
Okay. So if we wanted to, if somebody wanted to have one of those, where could we go to get those?
So I actually run my own casting business. If you go to Etsy and search Dynamite Replicas, you can find my store. So all of these are made from real fossils. I made all of the molds myself on my own time. I cast every single one of them myself. I paint every single one of them myself, and I ship them out directly to anyone who orders. I also have some real fossils on my Etsy shop as well, some real fossil fragments from things that I have found out in the ranch over the summers that I go dig. So those are some real dinosaur bones. And I will also be adding a couple of new cast listings here in the next couple of weeks. So expect things like megalodon teeth, and ancient whale teeth, and hadrosaur bones, that kind of stuff. I'm always updating everything.
That's really cool. That's excellent. I mean, and those prices are very, very affordable.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to mark anything up higher than it has to be.
Sure.
I've accounted for everything in materials, but I believe that these should be shared with the world.
Hmm.
Everyone should have the opportunity to
Hmm.
have something like this in their hands,
Yes.
because there's only one of every fossil that we find. Of course, there are other specimens of the same species, but every fossil is unique. And I think it's important that we share this kind of stuff with the world.
Excellent. Well, thank you for doing that. And like I say, so let me just bring that up just one more time. So here it is, guys. It's Dynamite Replicas on Etsy. Now, if you were looking for that, you can find Catherine on Instagram at katie.digs.dinos. So let me just bring up her Instagram page so we can all see that. Here we go. Here's Katie on her site there wearing a mask. And
Gotta
this
stay safe.
this is her Instagram page here, so you can see some of the stuff that she's done and her work. So you can get on there. Now, if you wanted to get to the shop, if you click on the link tree here, it'll bring up all the links, and then we've got the small business link there, and that'll bring up the shop. So that's how you can find Katie and her shop. You also mentioned the museum that you worked in. Let me bring that up. Here we are. So this is the earthscience.org website, which is the Tennessee Museum of Natural History. Am I correct?
Yes, yeah, this is the museum I work for.
Eh,
It's a privately owned nonprofit museum in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We currently don't have any funding behind it, so we are doing everything ourselves.
Okay. Now I did see that there was a dig going on in the summer. Does that happen every year?
Yes, so it does normally happen every year. You can contact the museum at our phone number or through our email on our website. We do allow people from the general public to come out and do dinosaur digs with us.
Wow.
Unfortunately, this year we are not taking on volunteers because we just partnered with the North Carolina Museum of Natural History to get our BLM land permit. This means that we can dig on government land. And there are a couple of spots in the ranch that we go to dig on. And there's bones that have been sitting at the surface level that we can finally get to and finally dig at. But starting next summer, you are more than welcome to come sign up for the museum dig. I believe that the minimum age for that is 16 years old, though, so you do have to be 16 years old. Um, we stay in Glendive, Montana for a week at a time, and we will take you out to different prospecting sites so you can find fossils and take them home. You do get to take home most of what you find. You could work on the established Triceratops site that I was talking about. So if you want to work on that Triceratops site, you can sign up for the dig and come work on it.
Excellent. And just for the record, it's 2022 now. So if you're watching this in 2023, the summer, you'll be able to volunteer and go and do that on the website that we just mentioned. Just in case anybody's watching it in 3 years' time, they'll come along and you'll be a fully qualified paleontologist.
Yep.
Excellent. Was there anything else you wanted to tell us, Catherine? Anything you wanted to mention before we say goodbye?
Don't let anyone ever hold you back or tell you that your dreams are childish. I get told a lot that dinosaurs are for kids. Dinosaurs are absolutely not for kids. Dinosaurs are awesome and they're fun for all ages.
That's an excellent message. And my saying is, who cares? Who wants to grow up? If they're for kids, I don't care. You know, it's just a fantastic message, and thank you so much for sending that message to everybody out here. I wanted to thank you again for your time. I will put some links up for your Instagram and for your shop there, your Etsy shop, and we'll make sure that everybody can see those. So thank you very much for your time, Catherine.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.